Chris Hurst here with WTUF and WPAX News, and I'm very honored this morning to be here with Mr. J.C. Cunningham again. And if you could tell us that you're a candidate for which office, Mr. J.C.?
Well, first, Chris, thanks for inviting me back. I'm currently the candidate for District 175 House Representative for the General Assembly. That covers portions of Thomasville, Brooks County, and Lowndes County. I'll be running this November against the new incumbent for this district, Amy Carter.
Absolutely. And I know one of the issues that I know you and I have talked a lot before about educating voters before they go to the polls, and that's obviously very important for the future of our country as we want to put good people in leadership positions. I know one of the things that I think voters could be better educated on is education itself.
Definitely. You know, for so long, not just in Georgia, but throughout the United States, we have voted for folks because of their party affiliation, their nationality, how they looked, even what their religious preferences were. And in some cases we made the right decisions, but in most cases we made bad decisions because we weren't electing folks that were the best candidate or the best person for that job. And a lot of that is because the candidates we were electing weren't educated on the issues or weren't educated enough on what their responsibilities and duties were once they got into office. So that's why I agreed from the very beginning when I was asked to seek this position, was that the only way I would do it is if I was allowed to truly educate everyone on the issues that's going to confront them in South Georgia and throughout the state of Georgia. A true representative must be able at all times to educate the voters and the citizens that they represent on the issues that pertain to those folks.
Did you get a chance to really say everything you wanted to say about charter schools?
One of the things as far as charter schools goes, that's going to be, a lot of people aren't aware that on November the 6th, that the charter school bill is going to be on the ballot. I think purposely it's been left on a back burner because a lot of people don't want to talk about it. But I wanted to just say, Chris, that I am adamantly opposed to privatizing charter schools. Currently, the only way a charter school can come to be is the local school boards have to make that decision on a charter school. The local school board or system would be responsible for that charter school, and they would fall under the same parameters as a regular school as far as funding. Currently, the state of Georgia, Governor Deal of the General Assembly would like for us to allow charter schools to become private and to be held under a private umbrella and no longer under the local school systems. The problem with that is we're already underfunded in public school systems throughout the state of Georgia, and if we privatize charter schools, we will be taking additional money from our public school systems to, in fact, fund these charter schools. Now, it's already been proven that charter schools have not shown better results than public schools in the state of Georgia. The reason for charter schools is to privatize school systems, and I think it's just another form of allowing segments of communities to be divided.
Absolutely. But we were talking before we got started here, and you were saying you're not altogether against all charter schools.
Exactly, and that's why I think we need to really talk about this. This needs to be a public forum. Charter schools are a good thing. Matter of fact, I've visited several charter schools. One charter school I'm very familiar with is A.R. Johnson in Augusta, Georgia. They are one of the best charter schools I've ever seen. Charter schools are fine when they serve the purpose in which they're meant to be to serve. For instance, Charter schools were developed to where to enhance a school system. For instance, say someone wanted to be an engineer, or they wanted to have an electrical background or medical background. Charter schools took the best and brightest of those folks and allowed them to enhance their educational abilities so they could go further into their educational life with it. Now, charter schools that has been shown in Clayton County and other communities, they're simply just a private school that starts K through 12, and they're trying to duplicate the same thing that another elementary or middle school or high school was doing on the other side of town. It was just privatization, and we don't need to be privatizing any more of our government at all. It needs to be transparent. It doesn't need to be private. We don't need private folks to come into our state, into our communities, and tell our local school systems when the charter school needs to be open and where it needs to be open and where it needs to be built.
Absolutely, and again, Mr. Cunningham, I want to thank you for taking a few minutes to share with us, and I'm definitely going to have you back several times before November. We do have a few more minutes though, so what I'm going to ask is, if everybody in District 175, all the voters, maybe even the school age kids, everybody in District 175, if they could hear you right now, what would you say to them?
I would say that it is time for us, or the citizens of South Georgia, District 175, to get involved, to actually take the time to meet your candidate. Insist that your candidate give you straight answers. Insist that your candidate let you know of the issues. Google, read the newspaper, Facebook, do whatever, but do your best to not vote on a person's voice or a person's yard sign, but vote on what that person truly can do for your community. See, every community is not meant to have a Democratic candidate. Every community is not meant to have a Republican candidate. But every community is, and they do deserve to have someone that's going to truly represent their issues. If there's anything I could stress for anyone, is to insist that their candidates come out to them and tell them exactly what they can do for their issues. Don't allow me or my opponent to tell you what they're going to do for you. Insist that they listen to what you need first.
Absolutely, and on a closing note, I'll let you talk a little bit about this. I think that's the beauty of living here in America, is that, you know, we can choose the candidate, like you said, that's best for our community and the way our system's set up. Say if Atlanta, if they would like to elect a libertarian county commissioner or governor or mayor or whatever, I think that's a great thing about living in our country, is that we can do that.
Well, you know, Chris, one of the things that I've written about on my website and my blogs and my Twitter is that, one, I truly want to be an independent voice. And I know that scares a lot of people. But Chris, I don't believe in that rule that because you're a Democrat, you have to vote Democrat, or because you're a Republican, you have to vote Republican. I believe in bipartisanship. And I think it's time for a person to stand up for the community they represent, and stop standing up for big money, big interest, or lobbyists that want to come in and bring some of their ideas from other parts of the country into our state. It is time for us to come together for the betterment of Georgia. The only way our education system is going to get to the level it needs to be is for Democrats, Republicans, Tea Partiers, Independents to come together in a bipartisan effort and take care of our most vital resource, which is our children.
That is a wrap.